Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. In this video, we will be talking about decision tree classification algorithm. So in my previous video, we talked about different types of learning, and decision trees essentially is a type of supervised learning technique. Now we also saw that in our supervised learning techniques, we have to provide both the input and the output. So here also we have to provide both the input and the output in order to train the model, or in order to make the system learn the aspects of classification. So it can be used for both classification as well as regression analysis. So decision tree, we can use it in order to find out different types of what can be the different types of classes in which a particular data belongs to, as well as we can also go ahead with regression problems. But mostly decision trees are used for classification problems. And also we can consider that since it is through the name itself, we can identify that it is a tree structured classifier. That means whatever classification is done, that classification would be in the form of a tree like representation, where there are internal nodes. In this particular tree there are internal nodes, and these internal nodes will be representing the features of the data set. So what attributes are we going to consider of a particular data set? Those will be considered in the internal nodes. There will be branches which will be essentially considering the decision rules based on which the decision would be taken, and there is also a leaf node. So this leaf node will be representing the outcome, that means the result. So these three different components, they form the tree structured classifier, which is known as decision tree. Talking about the nodes of a decision tree, since we have already considered the internal nodes, so these nodes, they basically are of two different types. One is the decision node and the other one is the leaf node. We have already talked about briefly a short while ago. Again we will be discussing this. So decision nodes are used to make decision and have multiple branches. So from a particular decision node we can have multiple branches when it comes to a decision node, whereas in our leaf node we will be actually having the output of those decisions which we have taken in the decision node, and they will not have any further branches associated with it. And basically if we are considering decisions, so what these decisions represent, these decisions are the tests or are the analysis which is performed on test which is performed on the basis of a data set. So which is performed depending on the data set. So we will have certain features or certain attributes based on which we will be taking certain decisions, and based on those decisions, based on those analysis, we will be generating the decision. So if we are considering decision, they are nothing but the test which is performed depending on the data set, not of the data set. This would be on the data set. And also if we are considering decision trees, it is a graphical representation for getting all the possible solutions to a problem or decision based, which given decision based on some given conditions. So essentially if we are considering any decision tree, so this decision tree classifier would be basically taking different features as well as different conditions, and based on these features and conditions we will be able to test and find out different types of outcomes which will finally give us the solution. This is called a decision tree because it is similar to a tree and it starts with the root node which expands on further branches and constructs like a tree-like structure. Now, if we want to see this in a diagrammatic way, we will be looking into it here. So basically every tree, it starts with the root. Here also there is a root node, but essentially this will be a decision node also. From this decision node we will have multiple other decision nodes which would be generated. Decision node, again decision node here. Then after that, let's say if we have some more decision nodes here, so we will have another decision node here and maybe a leaf node here. That means no further nodes from this particular node, and further from this decision node we will have the leaf node. Okay, so leaf node. This we will also see with an example that how this particular decision nodes, branches and the nodes leaf nodes take care of the problem and finding the solution. So after once we have reached a leaf node, there will be no other decisions which would be no other decision node which could be generated from it. Now if we are looking into this particular structure, this is basically the root node. All of these are the outcomes or the leaf node. So these are basically the classes. A decision tree will simply ask a question, and based on the answer yes or no, it further splits the tree into subtrees. Okay, so what is a subtree? If we are considering this entire block or is this entire branch, this is basically a subtree, and this subtree is generated based on the decision whether it is yes or it is no. Okay, now these branches are nothing but they are certain rules based on which we will be taking certain decisions. Now talking about decision tree, in order to build a decision tree we can use, let us write it down as dt. So we can use either a cart algorithm, we will see both of them, either a cart algorithm or which stands for classification and regression tree algorithm. So we will not discuss about this now. So just for our knowledge, we will simply write it down that a decision tree can be constructed using the CART algorithm. And CART stands for classification and regression tree. Now this tree will always be a part of anything which is related to decision tree, because decision tree itself is a tree like structure. Now talking about the terminologies, if we are considering the decision tree, we have to understand there are certain components which are associated with it. Let us write down the components one by one. One is the root node. This we already saw in the diagram, and this is the node from where the decision tree starts, and it will have the whole data set. So this root node will have the whole data set or the entire data set to it. Now once this decision root node gets the entire data set, it further gets divided into two or more homogeneous states. So here basically we will be including the entire data set, and here based on certain decisions it will get divided into either two or maybe more than two subtrees. Okay, the next one we have is the leaf node. Leaf node we have already discussed. These are final output node. So this will actually be representing the classes into which a particular data belongs to, and that tree cannot be segregated further after getting a leaf node. The third one is the branch or the subtree. So subtree, or we can also consider it as a branch. Okay, and this is formed by splitting the tree. So if we split the tree, this subtree would be formed. Then we have to understand now what is splitting. So splitting basically is breaking down of the entire data set or the decision node or root node into subnodes according to given conditions. So splitting essentially will have conditions associated to it. Okay, the next one is pruning, and pruning is the process. We have also seen this in alpha beta pruning. So pruning is the process of removing unwanted branches. So if we do not want some unwanted branches, if we do not want some branches, then we have to go for this pruning mechanism. So removing unwanted branches. So if we do not want certain branches, we can simply remove them. And we will also have a parent or a child node. Now if we are using a tree, or if we are handling a tree, essentially the root node of the tree is called the parent node, and all the nodes are other nodes are the child node. So here this will be basically the parent node, the others will be the child node. Now why do we use this decision tree is very important. Decision trees are used because it mimics the human thinking ability directly, and it is very easy to understand, and the logic behind the tree could be easily understood because it shows like a tree like structure. Now the next important point that we will be discussing is how does the decision tree algorithm work. So there is definitely an algorithm associated with it, and if we look into this, we will be very much surprised to see this, that it has a very simple logic which is incorporated. Now for predicting the class of a given data set, the algorithm starts from the root node of the tree. Now let us write it down in a stepwise manner. So in the first step, so it starts with, as already mentioned, it starts with the root node. It starts with the root node S, which contains, and this S will have the complete data set. So the entire data set would be provided to the root node. Now after that, in the second step, what we are going to do, we will be finding the best attribute in the data set, best feature in the data set. So identify best attribute in the data set. Now this attribute, we also do have several mechanisms by which we can use this, which we will be broadly discussing later. So we will be identifying the best attribute in the data set by making use of attribute selection measures. So there are attribute selection measures, and based on that we will be identifying the best attribute. Now in my step 3, so in my step 3, what we will do is we will generate the decision tree. We will divide this S into subsets. So S is divided into subsets which contains possible values, which contains possible values for the best attribute. We'll be generating the decision tree. So generate the decision tree node which comprises of or which consists of the best attribute. So we will be generating the decision tree which will be having the best attribute according to attribute selection measures. Okay, and the final step is we will go for a recursive activity of the same 4 steps. So we will be recursively making new decision tree, new decision trees using the subset of the class which we have created in 3, and we will continue this process until there is a stage where we cannot further classify the nodes. So we will, in this 6th step, we will be stop when the nodes cannot be classified, or we will call it we have reached a final node. Okay, so when the node cannot be further classified. So if we are considering these 5 steps are very important, and we will look into a real-time example in which we will see how this decision tree works. So let us consider a situation where a candidate has got a job and he wants to decide whether he should accept the job or he should not. Okay, so the leaf node, or let us write it down as the outcome. So the outcome would be either accept the offer or reject the offer. Okay, so let us first write down the root node. The root node will split further into the next decision node. Let's say what should be the root node. The root node will be comprising of the salary of that particular job. So if I'm considering the salary, the condition is whether the salary is between 30k to 50k. Okay, so whether the salary is between 30k to 50k. So this is a condition which is associated with it. Okay, if the salary is between 30k to 50k, then this particular decision will have either a yes or a no. Okay, so if the salary is between 30k to 50k, we will go to a different subtree, and if it is not, then we will be going to a different subtree. Okay, so let us take the first condition first, that if the salary is not between 30k to 50k, then the offer would be reject. The offer would be rejected. And if the salary is between 50k to 30k to 50k, then we will all go ahead with the next decision, where I might have an option is office is near to home. So this is another condition which I'm associating. Okay, and based on this there will be either a yes or a no. So if it is yes and if it is no, so if it is no, I might not be interested in that particular job if it is very far from my home, but it is offering me the first best attribute, that the salary is between 30 to 50, but the next best attribute is not satisfying my condition. Okay, so hence I will be rejecting the offer again. Now if my office is near to the home, so next best attribute is also satisfied, then what else? I should get a I should get a travel accommodation. That means I should get a cab. So whether cab is available. Okay, if it is yes, then I will accept the offer. If it is no, I will not accept, or I will reject the offer. So here if you look into this decision node, a decision tree, initially it started off with the root node where it is identifying the best attribute. Okay, the best attribute is, let's say, the salary component of any job. Okay, so salary is good. Okay, then it will go to this particular subtree. Now here what do I need? I also need that the office should be near to home. If my office is not near to home, I will simply reject it. Now this node further cannot be classified. Okay, but here after this particular decision is true, it can be classified again whether I'm getting a cab facility or not. If I'm getting a cab facility, then definitely I will go to the leaf node which says that it is accepted. Okay, so this is how a very simple um, decision tree works. Initially I will provide the entire data set into the root node. So this is basically the root decision node, and here I will have all the features like the salary, the salary of that particular job, the other attributes, maybe what is the technicality which is required in that job, or what technical knowledge do I need in that job. And the other feature might be whether there will be promotion in that job, and the other feature might be whether they need additional certification for that job. So all those features would be there, but based on all those features, using the attribute selection measure, the decision node will be selecting the best attribute, which is apart from the other features of that particular job. What is most important at that point of time is whether I'm getting sufficient salary or not. If I'm getting sufficient salary, I will go to the other features slowly, like office is near to the home is another features, and cab facility is available or not, that is another attribute, right? So every time I'm going ahead, I'm selecting a different attribute. Okay, so you can go ahead with analyzing all the features, or if you feel that okay, having just one taking decision on just one or two attributes would be sufficient for me to accept or reject the offer, it is entirely up to you. Now, as already mentioned, that this the best attribute could be selected using the attribute selection measures. So ASM, or the attribute selection measures, would be helping us to identify the best attribute at that particular point. So attribute selection measure basically is a certain mathematical representation or mathematical component uh, of any particular decision tree. So while implementing a decision tree, the main issue basically arises that how do we select the best measure. So this ASM would be helping to select the best attribute for the and root node and for all the sub nodes. So to select the best attribute for the decision nodes. Root node is also one of the decision nodes. So for the decision node, it will be helping us to select the best attribute. So now, in order to solve such problems, we will be using this ASM, the problem of selecting the best attribute. So by this measurement, we can easily select the best attributes for nodes of a tree, and we will be using two popular techniques. One is information gain, and the other one is Gini index. So these two particular ASM or attribute selection measures will be helping us to select the best attribute. Now let me talk about the first one, which is the information gain. So talking about information gain, so basically it is the measure of changes in entropy after the segmentation of a data set based on an attribute. So here entropy plays a very important role, and any changes in its measure after the segmentation or splitting of the data set which is based on an attribute is calculated. Now it calculates how much information a particular feature provides us about a class. So calculation about information, So how much information a feature provides us about a class is calculated. Now this change in entropy is directly related to this particular information, and according to the value of information gain, so information gain is directly the value which we achieve after calculating this information gain would be directly proportional to the split of the node and will be building the decision tree. So information gain value will decide the split of the node. Now this is another detailed topic which we will be discussing in our subsequent sessions. However, for us to remember as of now, we will have to look into a particular equation, which is basically information gain is equal to entropy of S. That means S is the data set, the entire data set, minus the weighted average of the data set into the entropy of each of the feature. So this equation basically is for information gain, and a decision tree algorithm always tries to maximize the value of information gain. The more information we get about a particular feature, the more would be the possibility of using it in order to split the data set. And a node or attribute having the highest information gain is split first and will be calculated using this particular formula. Now entropy, as already said, we have to calculate using another equation. So let us write it down. Entropy of S is equal to minus P yes, that is probability of yes, log of 2 probability of yes, minus P of probability of having no, log base 2, then probability of having no. So S already mentioned, this is the total number of, this would be the total number of samples which we will be calculating at that particular instant. P of yes is the probability of S, and we are using log base 2, and P of no would be the probability of no. So this we can also take the minus common here, and we can write it down as P of yes log 2 P yes plus P of no log 2 P no. So this is basically how we can represent the entropy. And like I mentioned previously, so entropy basically it will be giving us the information gain directly by the previous equation which we have discussed. Okay, so this is how we will be calculating, and also entropy would be representing the measure. It is basically a metric which would be measuring the impurity in a given attribute, and it will specify the randomness. So more the random of a particular data is, or a particular feature is, that means it is not very suitable for us to consider. Okay, so any feature which has zero entropy, that means that is a more stable type of a feature, and we can use it for our splitting in order to calculate the information gain and also splitting. The next possible method of ASM is the Gini index. Okay, so Gini index is also a measure of impurity or purity. So it is a measure of impurity or purity which we can use in our cart, which is basically the classification and regression algorithm, and an attribute with low Gini index should be preferred as compared to high Gini index. So if we have a low Gini index, that means lower impurity, it should be utilized in case of calculating the splitting criteria instead of having a higher Gini index. So lower Gini index is preferred more rather than higher Gini index, and it only creates binary splits. Now in information gain, when we were calculating, so it can create multiple splits. However, here only binary splits are created. So binary splits are created, and the cart algorithm uses the Gini index to create binary splits. So if we have to classify in two different classes, we can always go for Gini index in order to use the attribute as an attribute splitting measure. However, if we have to create multiple classes, we have to use the information gain. Okay, and Gini index can be calculated using the formula Gini index is equal to 1 minus summation of j pj square. So this is basically the formula in which we can calculate the Gini index, where p of j would be the proportion of samples which belongs to a class. Let's say we can consider here as we can also consider this as let's write it down again. So we can consider this as j is equal to 1 to c p of j square. So p of j is the proportion of samples that will belong to a class C for a particular node. Okay, so this is basically the formula for Gini index, and we can use this in order to calculate the best possible attribute. Now, talking about the advantages and disadvantages of a decision tree. Now let us write down the advantages first. So advantages of a decision tree is that it is simple to understand, and since it mimics the human thought process, so it will be easier for any human being also to understand. So simple to understand by the machines as well as the human beings, and it can be very useful for solving decision related problems. So if we have decision related problems either in terms of yes or no, so it is very useful, and it is very fast when it comes to this kind of problems. Also, it helps to think about all the possible outcomes of a problem, and there is less requirement of data cleaning. So less data cleaning is required as compared to other methods. So these are some of the advantages which are associated with the decision tree classifier. The next one is the disadvantages. We will talk about the cons of this particular algorithm. So disadvantages, maybe it has lots of layers. So many layers, multiple layers are there, as you saw in the previous example. Also, a lot of layers are there, which is making it more complex, and it may also have overfitting issue, and this overfitting issues can be definitely solved using different other algorithms like the random forest algorithm and computational complexity computational complexity increases if there are multiple labels. For multiple labels, So these are some of the disadvantages which are associated with this particular classification algorithm. So we talked about a lot of things in this video. We talked about how a decision tree looks like, how can we create a decision tree, what are the different components of a decision tree, how the algorithm looks like, how the tree looks like with a generic example, then what are the different attribute selection measures, and we also saw the different equations for it, information gain we saw also saw Gini index, and we talked about the advantages and disadvantages of it. Okay, so basically if we are using decision tree, we have to understand that uh, we can do it in a much faster manner. However, the computational complexity always goes up if we have multiple different classes associated. Okay, so that is all for this video. We will talk about more of this in our next session. Thank you.